Excelente, etc.
Thrill me.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Horror Flicks and Guitar Picks podcast. I'm your host, Tim, and today I'm joined, as usual, by my co-host, Steven. What's up, man? How's it going?
I don't know why I'm quacking like a duck, but hey.
Hell yeah. I was literally gonna, I was waiting for us to get into it, and I was gonna be like, who's gonna do the impression first? So I'm glad you just did it. Like, that works for me. Man, got it out, because I definitely can't do it that good. That was top notch, dude. The fucking, and of course,
uh
for
yeah.
people that don't get the hint, we're talking about Lucio Fulci's, not this Fulci, this is the band named after the guy, but Lucio Fulci's New York Ripper from 1982, which is your
Mhm.
choice. Uh,
Yep.
I think it
I
was
just like really like family friendly, wholesome movies, and that's why I picked it.
now I feel like it was just to show off that awesome duck call that you got going over there.
I just have no other use for it.
He's like, I got to get that in the show first chance I get. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Before we talk, and of course, that means we'll be getting sleazy with our talk this time around. But before we, dive into Lucio Fulci's New York Ripper, I guess I don't always have to say Fulci beforehand. Before we dive into New York Ripper, have you been watching anything else, before we jump into that you want to mention? It's been a minute since we talked. I don't think last
Yeah.
time last time we talked it was before the New Year, so Stranger Things finale hadn't even happened yet.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Seen a lot then, I guess. Yeah, Stranger Things. Which I loved. Feels a little surreal that it's over,
Yeah.
which is crazy to me. And honestly, I'm kind of happy that it's over in a weird way. Like I got so annoyed with the internet, especially like threads, and it's just like nonstop, like over analyzing this show. And then the obsession over like the secret ninth episode, and I'm just like, guys, calm down.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I loved it. I thought the way that it ended was very sweet. You know, uh, I, I know people were like kind of complaining about like the final battle and how it like kind of happened like halfway through the final episode, and then there was a lot of exposition and closure in the end with all the characters. But I don't know, I loved it. So yeah, I'm stoked. I'm excited to rewatch all of it again, like all the way through, and I feel like that'll give it like a more complete viewing. But yeah, I loved it. See, what else did I watch? I checked out One Battle After Another. Have you seen that one yet?
That's
Um,
on my list, but because it's got a long runtime, and I don't think Lauren will be too into it, I've been waiting for like a good night where she maybe goes and does her nails or something to watch it. But
Honestly, I'd say have her check it out. I think she'd kind of be stoked on it.
yeah,
It maybe I'm starting to get a complex over this because anytime I see a movie that feels like this movie, I'm like, it feels like a Tarantino film. And I'm like, there's probably a more eloquent way I could describe how this movie makes me feel, but for whatever reason, I just jumped to that. But no, there's something great about it. Leo's character is awesome in this. And it definitely starts off like I thought the movie was going to be like way harsher and more intense, like based off of how like the beginning starts. Um, and then it kind of gets into a different tone. And yeah, I'll be stoked to hear what you think of it. I had a blast with it. I mean, it just was one of those movies that I was just like, yep, I need more movies like this in my life. So,
yeah.
but yeah, so I saw that. And I last night saw The Bone Temple, the second film for 28 years later,
Oh yeah.
which had a blast. And I won't say much more because I know you haven't seen it. And yeah, I'm sure we'll do a deep dive on that one. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I definitely want to check that out soon. So, maybe even as soon as after we chat about New York Ripper, I might go see it. But uh,
hell yeah.
no, hell yeah. But no, I shout out to my cat. Want to say hey, but but hell yeah. No, I agree with Stranger Things. I had a blast with the finale. it's one of those things that the entire final season, like I would give like maybe an 8 out of 10, just because like I do agree that it felt like at times maybe they didn't watch their own show in the past, like they forgot certain
Mm,
details and kind of just wrote the season with, the finale in mind, and like but and there were certain things that did feel like it kind of like just went in circles, like storyline wise, that I'm like that time could have been
mm,
used on something else, like even if it just meant more of Henry Crewell's past, being shown. But
sure.
other than that, like the finale itself, I'd give like a 10 out of 10. I had a like that actual finale episode. I had a blast with it. I felt like the battle was very satisfying, and I think it had to happen, halfway through, because there's so many
Hmm.
characters that you need to give, their like epilogue or whatever it's called. Is it epilogue or prologue? I guess epilogue, because the prologue's before,
Epilogue, yeah.
epilogue's after. Yeah. I'm not good with that shit, but yeah, you need to give them all like their little epilogue and like send off. So it's like there's so many characters to do that with, and they did it with every single one except for like a few that people complained about. But I'm
Sure.
like, they were like, oh, Murray didn't get. I'm like, fuck Murray. It's like you can't go through every single person. I'm like,
Totally.
but you just hope he's living a good life, and that they still talk with him. I mean, shit, he might be out there in Montauk with Hopper and Joyce. So no, I agree. I really enjoy it. I call back to our last episode that we recorded, Opera. The only note that I forgot to mention was when we first get introduced to like the main final girl,
Hmm.
it like pans up to like when it just leaves her room, it like pans up and it goes
Mm.
past some VHSs, and one of the VHS tapes is Purple Rain, and like right after that, the Stranger
Oh,
Things came out, because I wrote it
that's
down.
funny.
The only two that like stuck out were Purple Rain and Blade Runner, and the song
Yeah.
Purple Rain, of course, is in.
Yeah, I forgot about that scene. I remember seeing that too and thinking like, oh, I should really pay attention what's on the shelf. But yeah, it slipped my mind pretty quickly. But yeah.
Yeah, I paused it and everything, but because it's such a dated movie, like even in the
Hmm.
4K and shit, you couldn't see but so much. But no, other than that, I made like a New Year's resolution to kind of watch 100 movies for the first time, including all the stuff I'll see in theaters, but a bunch of stuff that like are classics that I've missed over the years. So I've actually
Nice.
ran through some like quite a few movies. I also want to read. I said 15 books originally, but now I've backed up to 10 books. But I'm almost through my first book, which is In the Miso Soup by Ryu Murakami, which I highly recommend. But it's pretty much about
Oh,
this.
hell yeah. I love Murakami.
Yeah, this one's about this like sex tour guide pretty much over in Japan,
Mm.
and he's like showing around this like American guy that's there, and he's suspicious that he might be like the local serial killer that's going on and stuff. So
Hmm.
it's very
Yeah,
good. But
that one is good. I like that one. I'm also a huge fan of Kafka by the Shore.
oh yeah,
That's an incredible like coming of age type story. So if you dig Murakami, definitely check out Kafka by the Shore. That's probably my favorite Murakami story. But
no,
yeah.
definitely check that out for sure. I just got this 30 Stephen King books behind me right here. I just have nowhere else to put them yet, but my mom gave them to
Nice.
me, so I got plenty to read for a while. But as far as movies go, there's actually been some Stephen King in there too that I've seen for the first time, including Stand By Me. I had never seen Stand By Me. Uh,
Oh, really?
yeah, and it held up, dude. I loved it.
Oh, dude, such a good movie.
Yeah, I was blown away. Like I literally want to like watch it again already. But I watched Stand By Me for the first time. Dude, I'm telling you, there's the first three of these are probably shockers.
Sure.
Uh, the next one for the first time ever, the Terminator, like the original
Oh,
Terminator. I don't.
really?
So this is one that it's a first time front to back watch. I'd seen it
Okay.
definitely like in pieces, like a lot. Like I've seen like
Hmm.
some of the same scenes multiple times throughout my life, but it's mostly just catching it on TV. I never like actually just sat down and started the movie from start to finish and stuff.
Sure.
Because my stepdad loved it, but he wasn't like a person that would like rewatch movies unless he just called them on TV growing up. Like, oh, I love this movie. I'll finish watching it. You know what I mean? So this is
Hmm.
my first like full, front to back watch of the movie. So same thing with the Shawshank Redemption. I'd never seen that before.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Dude, it
Sick one.
blew me
So
away.
good.
I wish I didn't know the ending though. I will say I did know how like
Uh,
the story ended, and it would have been so much like I could just tell how much even like more impactful it would be if like I
yeah.
like got the surprise part. But then I saw Willy's Wonderland, just as classic as Shawshank Redemption. No, I'm just kidding. That was one that just always
Nice.
that was one that I think me and Lauren watched something else one night, and then I was like, I'm gonna stay up a little later. So I threw on something
Mm,
that I might like not care to stay up for, and I ended up
sure.
watching the whole thing. It was fun. It was okay. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it's fine. I when that movie came out, everybody was kind of like everybody hyped it up for more than what it was. And I was just like, I mean, it's fine. Like I've seen other like, past Mandy, Nick Cage films that I think stood out more than what that did. You know, like Mom and Dad's, I thought was more fun than Willy's Wonderland, but it is what it is. It was fine, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Now I'd
so
watch it again, but I won't be.
funny that you said about Shawshank because it was maybe like 5 or 4 years ago. Um, I hadn't seen The Green Mile, you know,
You know,
which was another one that everybody, would be like, "You never saw this movie?" And I was just like, "Yeah, for whatever reason, I only saw Shawshank and I never saw Green Mile." And so watched that similar scenario where I was just like, "Wow, this movie rips."
you know.
Why did I wait this long? But yeah, it's cool when you can like, there's still some of those like huge movies that you can check off and you're like, yeah, and, like I still have some of these that I can watch. So, anyways, but yeah.
You know. No, and I'd see I'd seen Green Mile growing up because my mom like watched it when it came out.
Mm,
But Shawshank came out so early, it was like I was like maybe th like 2 or 3 when it came out.
mm,
And Green Mile was a little later, so I was still young when I saw it, but I have seen that. But that's one I want to like rewatch this year, but it won't like count for the
mm.
watch list or nothing because I have seen it before. But of course, and then actually the movie we're talking about today counts as a first time watch for me as well, The New York Ripper, because I had seen
This is
it.
a first time watch for you?
Well, I've watched the first hour like 3 times, but I
Okay.
always I always fall asleep. It's because I always start it super late because I know it's a
Uh,
movie that's sleazy and like Lauren, like my wife won't like it.
yep.
So usually I just wait till like late night and throw it on. So I've fallen
Hmm.
asleep so many times. So this is the first time I've actually seen the full ending. And honestly, I thought I made it
Sick.
further. Every time I'd watched it before, I thought I made it closer to the end than I did. I didn't realize I had like a whole nother like 40 minutes. So
Yeah,
uh
that's so funny. It does kind of there. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Giallo's kind of had hit that point sometimes where they drag a little bit, but yeah.
Well, especially with this one, because it kind of like shows something in the middle that like lets you know who the killer is, but then it still doesn't reveal it fully till the end again. But which we'll get into when
Yeah,
we dive into it. But and then the last two were Assault on Precinct 13, the original. Um,
sick.
that was one that I'd seen their remake just because it came out like when I was like a teen, and like I said, my stepdad like loved
Hmm.
action films and stuff, so we watched like what was new and stuff. But never watched the original. I actually really enjoyed it. It was like a nice little. I definitely didn't shoot it into like my top Carpenter films just because like of
Hmm.
like the genre fan I am, but I really enjoyed it and would watch it again in a heartbeat. It'd be fun to see it in
Hmm.
theaters with people for sure. And then I saw Freaky Tales. Did you ever watch Freaky Tales
I
from
still
last
haven't
year?
watched it. I've heard it's good. I have a hard time watching anthology films, or at least I have a hard time when I'm like, I want to watch a movie, and then like if it's an anthology, even if I've heard it's pretty good, I'm like, I don't know if I want like a couple short stories because for some reason like they just never stick with me that long, even if I really enjoyed it. But yeah, so I still haven't watched it. It's on my list. I might just save it for like Halloween season next year or whatever, but I need to watch it. So,
Dude, you should definitely check it out. It's so it's a lot of music based stuff. And
oh, interesting. Okay.
yeah, and like each one almost does like a different like like genre of music. Like one's like punk and hardcore, one's like
Oh,
hip
cool.
hop and like but it mixes together like Trick or Treat.
Mm,
So it's more of an anthology like that where like all the stories kind of eventually kind of intertwine a little bit and then
sure.
so it's not like Creep Show where each one like completely cuts off and goes to a new thing. It's very like intertwined anthology, but I really enjoyed it. I definitely highly recommend it and it's on HBO Max, but it honestly has like a little bit of a summer vibe. I definitely
Okay.
recommend it. I might even pick it for the show because it's
Sure.
not fully horror, but it's like kind of like sci-fi horror action. It's like that's another thing is it's just a complete blend of
Cool.
like subgenres too, and it's like the whole movie is just anti-neo-Nazi. So like
Oh,
almost
sick.
almost every segment like that's almost the villain. So
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, maybe with all this ice shit, I should really watch that
you know.
movie, get me fired up. Hey, dude, watch one battle after another, and you'll be like, hell yeah, I'm joining Antifa. Like, you'll get psyched.
No, yeah.
So, but,
No, but other than that, that's really all I watched. I'm trying to think if I watched anything else. I had my
mm.
son shame one of my movies that I like for the first time ever and break my damn heart. He was like, and it was so funny how he did it, dude. It was like, we were sitting there. It was this morning. He goes,
Mm.
"Daddy, you remember that wrestler, uh, King?" And I thought he said Kane. I was like, "You
Oh,
mean?" I was like, "Kane?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What about him?" He was like, "He was in that movie." And I was like, "Oh, you mean King?" Because he's talking about Ready to Rumble. And he
uh,
was like, "Yeah." I was like, "In Ready to Rumble?" He said, "Yeah." He said, that was kind of a bad movie, wasn't it? And I was like, no, it wasn't. What are you talking about? I was like, jerk.
You talking shit? And then you pile drive him.
Yeah, I was about to say, I will rule you. Hit him with the fucking all the top road. I was like, this is not a bad movie. He was like, it's kind of a bad movie. I was like, damn, dude, 5 years old, flaming my shit.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh, I love it. There's no shame like kids' brutal honesty.
That was like the first time he's ever done that. Like, like with intention of being like,
Uh-huh.
that sucked. I was
Yep.
like, dude.
Your own child's shade is vicious. Just you wait.
I was like, I'm gonna delete all your Fortnite freaking V-Bucks. Spend them
Hell
all.
yeah. Too funny. Nice. You been listening to any new music or anything?
Nothing too new.
Mm.
Was trying to think if there was any new records. I know that uh there was a new record that just came out, but I can't remember
Hmm.
who it was. Did you have anything new? I'll see if I could look it up.
Just mostly singles. Like I listened to like the new Final Gasp single, which
Oh yeah, yeah, that was
thought was
good.
great. I don't know if you watched the music video of it. It's very Bava-esque or kind of feels like just like old British like folk horror, like gothic folk horror. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I sent them a message. I was like, I love your music video. This rules. And they're like, and I was like, explained it. I was like, they're like, that's exactly the style we were going for. So they're like, thank you for noticing. And I was like, hell yeah. So that song is rad. I think their new album comes out this February, so I'm excited to check that out. And then there is this hardcore band out of Tampa called Days Spent that I've been listening to for a while, and they just put out a new little EP, and I've been enjoying that. It's been good. So, but other than that, nothing like majorly new that I can think of. So,
Oh yeah. No, I did check out I think it's called The Apparition, the Final Gasp single. I did check that out. It was pretty good.
yeah,
I need to watch the video though, but
it's a cool.
yeah, I love the song itself. So I'm stoked for their new album. And then I checked out the new singles from ASAP Rocky and that video that had like Winona Ryder and Danny Elfman and
Mm,
stuff. And I kind of dig it. He's going for like a hip hop like mixed with like pop punk type vibe, but I mean, of course, it's that pop punk that like a lot of those guys are doing. It kind of feels like maybe something similar to like a Haley Williams or like even like
okay.
I could see where maybe like somebody was trying to do like a turnstile vibe, but just didn't necessarily get there. You know what
Mm,
I mean? So, but I do enjoy it, like especially for with his hip hop stuff mixed in, it makes it a little different because I do like his. I'm a big fan of his from back in the day and stuff. So the Bad Taste Video dudes that I listen to their podcast where
hmm
they shout out like bands and stuff. They shouted out another band that I really enjoyed on their like recap episode of 2025 called Plasmodulated. I don't remember the
Okay.
name of the
So,
album or anything like that, but it's deathcore and I fucking loved it. It's like really good. They have a song called
really?
like The Final Fucking, and
Okay.
that's the song they played on the show, and it like hooked me
Uh,
immediately. It's really good stuff. The whole album's really good. I highly recommend checking out Plasmodulated. But,
Plasmodulated. Sick, dude.
but yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but there's some albums coming up. Like I want to check out Megadeth's final record just because they do like a cover of Ride the Lightning up there. I want to see Mustaine's take on it. Plus, it's their final record. I know they've kind of fallen off over the years for fans of Megadeth,
Mhm.
but just want to see what they do. There's another couple records coming out this month. I just, with my mom's health and stuff, I've been busy, but uh,
Sure.
and I've been kind of focused on the movie side because there's so much movie shit coming out in January. I'm like really excited,
Oh,
and
I know.
I need to get caught up. I haven't seen Bone Temple yet. Still want to see Primate. You got something coming up at the end of the oh Send Help. I'm really excited for, but with
Hmm
Sam Raimi comes up before the end of the month. So, and I think there's even another movie. I just can't remember what it was that comes out this week. There was literally something every week, but plus there's other stuff
Yeah.
that's not horror I want to see. I wouldn't mind seeing Marty Supreme. I wouldn't mind seeing
Oh, yeah.
uh, uh shit. There was another one that came out that's coming out like fuck. I keep brain farting.
Withering Heights with Margot Robbie.
Dude, I would watch that just because Emerald Fennell did good Saltburn and shit. But uh,
Uh-huh. Yep.
now there was a couple movies coming out that I want to see, but oh, it's that No Other Choice movie, the Bong Joon-ho movie,
Oh,
or
yeah.
is it Bong Joon-ho or
Yeah.
is it
Yeah. Yeah.
Park
Yeah.
Chan-wook?
Park Chan-wook, I
Yeah,
think. Oh God. Don't ask. I don't why am I saying yes? Like I know. I'm pretty sure it's Park Chan-wook, but
yeah.
yes. Yeah, that looks awesome. I was hoping I could find it to stream the other night. Because I was like, oh, I want to watch something, and and I couldn't find it anywhere, so I guess it just hasn't been really released yet. Just with like a lot of the like stuff that's up for awards, usually that's pretty easy to find online, just because there's streamers out where streamers are sent out to everybody to rate and review it for the awards. So yeah, but yeah, I want to see that one. It looks rad.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for that one. And then I saw somebody today post and said that they thought it was their favorite film of 2025, which I'm like,
Oh,
I,
so
I don't even know if it came out before the end of the year. Not unless definitely not in like a wide release. It was probably limited before.
I think it did. I don't think it's come out like in the US or anything.
Yeah.
But
So for
but
me,
it
it's
looks good. I mean, it looks like
2026.
it's definitely more like humor based. But I'm excited for it. So
Oh yeah. No, and I still wouldn't mind even seeing Anaconda. So there's plenty on the docket to
oh
see.
yeah,
So, but
yeah.
hell yeah, we can quack our way into fucking the what did I say before we actually started recording? We can let's get quacking as we talk
Let's
about the
get
New York
quacking.
Ripper, dude. Uh, from 1982. This was your choice. I mean, you had you were
uh,
between two, and of course you went with this one because I had already picked a Argento film.
mhm.
What was your reason for picking this one? And do you remember your first time you saw the New York Ripper?
So I guess the reason I wanted to pick this one is, I mean, when you talk about giallos, like I feel like there's a very particular style for most of them. Um, and this was one that stood out to me for being like exceptionally more cruel than typical giallos, even though a lot of them are very violent, especially towards women. This one is less stylized in like the like pretty glows and whatnot. I know there's just something so compelling about this movie for as horrible as it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it shocked me, and then also like I think it like kind of flirts this line of like exploitation film giallo, which I love exploitation films too. Like I think they're fun. So I don't know. This movie just is one of those ones that I watched. I think just because I had seen Zombie, I've seen a couple like Fulci films, and this was on the list of like, oh, if this is one of his better ones, and I was just like, oh, I did not expect any of this. So I kind of went in blind, other than the fact that I saw it on a list of check it out. I think I saw it in college or just like shortly after college for the
Yeah.
first time. But yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say it's uh, uh, an easy watch for for most people. So
No, that was kind of very similar how like I that's how I kind of feel about this film. It's one of those films that I don't know if I like it, but I really enjoyed watching it, but I feel like I wasn't supposed to enjoy watching it, if that makes
yeah,
sense. Like it definitely makes you uncomfortable, but I like that, and I feel like, it's getting like that's what it's trying to do is make you uncomfortable while, because that's the thing is like you're not supposed to be comfortable watching murder. It's almost like, the whole thing that happened with
no,
opera uh with what Argento's commentary was supposed to be like. I'm gonna make you watch these things that you always get to look away from and stuff, and you come here to watch this stuff and glorify it, so I'm gonna like make you
mhm,
watch it. And it's almost like Fulci was almost doing the same thing with this, where he was almost like, I'm gonna up it a notch and like just make this as uncomfortable as possible, so that way like in
mhm,
between the murder you don't get levity or comfort, you still are just getting like very uncomfortable shit. And even this, it's like sexual stuff, which is usually not uncomfortable. Sometimes it's like, oh, sex, cool. But the way that
mhm,
it's portrayed in this film is all in uncomfortable situations. So, no, I agree. It stands out in that manner as far as like a Giallo's go. And as far as my first time seeing it, it was very similar to the way I saw opera. It was kind of just like once I started
mhm,
hearing about Fulci and diving into his catalog, I like tried to watch it. Like I said, this is my first time fully watching it, but I did throw
mhm,
it on one night after watching some of his other stuff. And I will say though, I do prefer supernatural stuff to his Giallo stuff, even though Don't Torture a Duckling is my favorite of his films, and it is, I guess, his only other Giallo that I've seen. But I just like when I think of Fulci, I don't think of Giallo necessarily. Where with Argento, I immediately think of Giallo because
mhm.
that's like what majority of his stuff is. But I do love the way he handles Giallo, though. I feel like he does it in a way different way than most people.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, I think a lot of them are just a little bit meaner hearted, compared to some of the other ones, but
Yeah,
mean spirited. Yeah, yeah, this one for whatever reason, yeah, it's always like captivated me. I think too because it was like I don't know, it just felt like a movie you weren't supposed to watch, if that makes any sense. But then like the story is kind of fun. You know what I mean? Like it's a good slasher, whodunit killer giallo. Like I thoroughly enjoyed the story. I'm also like love like pre-cleaned up New York City. Like that whole setting to me is forever fascinating in films.
Yeah,
Um, whether it's The Warriors or, anything that has that, I don't know why, but something about that is just so cool to me. And this one like shows it in the like grimiest way possible. Um,
yeah,
but actually there's a cool scene. And I should have made notes, but I remember there's a scene where like one of the characters is walking down like 42nd Street where all the like, like red light district, but then also like the movie theaters and stuff like that. And there's a bunch of like late night horror films on some of the marquees.
yeah,
And I was just like, oh, that's cool. Like, I wonder how much of that was like Fulci, like, I love this movie. Let's put this on the billboard.
yeah.
But yeah.
Or if he was like guerrilla style, you know what I mean? If it was like that's just what happened to be up there, and luckily,
Yeah, that might be the case. I did read I read somebody posted that they thought that it was likely that he didn't get a lot of permission to shoot a lot of the things that he did shoot in this movie.
yeah,
Um and part of the reason why that makes it so much more fascinating, not because knowing that he didn't have permission, but like you just don't get a lot of these like shots in other films because of that. So yeah, so that's a strong case for that, I guess. But yeah. What when you did first watch it, what was your like immediate response to hearing the infamous duck voice? when
I
you
got
when you get the killer, because it starts off like pretty like okay, like this is grimy, and then all of a sudden duck voice happens and you're like, yeah, what did you think?
now for the first time I heard the Doug voice, I've immediately thought it was hilarious just because the first thing he says, he like quacks, he goes stupid, and it's like the first thing he says. So it's like not only does it like catch you off guard, but he just calls her stupid. Like have you ever seen anybody in any other slasher movie being like right before they're about to stab somebody, just being like, "Hey, stupid," or any like even if they said it
uh
normally, I'd still be like, "He called her fucking stupid." Like it's
yeah, I think I mean because like we're no strangers to giallo films and Italian films and like having the overdubbing, so you're used to like I mean everybody makes fun of House by the Cemetery for Bob, the little boy and his dumb voice where he's like, "Mommy, no," he has the stupidest sounding voice. Um, and this is like no exception. This is the same, it's like, but it's a duck. And yeah, I think the first I same to you. I just was like, what? What's happening? Is this like are we just missing what makes this cool because it's like overdubbed and maybe this was like, had a something something more to it. But yeah, no, it's just duck voice. But then you kind of love it. I don't know. That's how I got to it.
right.
So
It's almost like he did it on purpose, like tried to make the only levity and comedy to be during the
mm,
murder. Like, like
sure.
how I was saying he made the rest of the film uncomfortable, like and try to make it as uncomfortable as the murder sequences. It's almost like he put that in that for that reason. It's like, why not make it to where it's like you don't know whether you're supposed to laugh or, be uncomfortable. It's like it makes it extra more uncomfortable as well. But
It's true. I mean, it's I feel like because most giallo films, like the killer is very like stylish and like suave and sleek, like you get this like cool glove that he's wearing, it's always that, but this is like harsh and abrupt and goofy, but like why would you want a cartoon character doing like these like horrendous acts of violence, towards towards people? So yeah, it does make it even worse. So maybe it's like, I don't know, maybe Fulci's like trying to say something as far as like, yeah, all the giallos, in the past have been like this, but I'm going to do something weird, and kind of take a bolder approach. So I don't know. I think that's why part of the reason why this movie stands out so much to me. It seems to like break all the rules, you know?
yeah, especially with the murders being so brutal and like mean feeling towards like women and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like he cuts her up the joy trail or whatever the fuck that doctor says, where he's
Yes.
like, I was like, what? I've never heard of somebody call it a joy trail, but okay, I'm
Uh-huh.
using that one. But nah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that,
that's funny. And then also just like the characters in the movie, like none of them are really like uh pleasant, except for maybe the final girl at the end, I think her name's Faye.
yeah,
Um, like she's the only like redeeming character really. Everybody else is like pretty like either morally compromised or like also like sexual deviants too. I mean, like the cop sucks. Like he's just like, I'm just a, you know, I've been in the business for many years, like beatnik New York cop. And then, you've got the college professor that he's having help him that, seems like almost kind of bored with it all. Like, oh yeah, it's just a killer, and he's like psychoanalyzing everything, and clearly he's like, in the closet because you see him like buying gay porn mag or whatever. So like, I don't know. There's a lot, a lot to this movie for sure with the characters.
yeah. No, that's actually one of my few issues with the film, or actually like my major issue with the film is the main character, the detective or whatever. He
Mhm.
just to me like the tone. He feels like he's going with the tone of a comedy that just has no jokes, and
Yeah,
like, but it's a
sure.
film that's very like sleazy and like serious and stuff. To where I feel like if they would have had somebody that actually played it like a detective in like a serious like '70s film, it would have felt like a little bit. I would have been able to like follow him and like enjoy him more in the character, but it almost felt like so goofy that when he did these sleazy
Mm.
things, I was almost like, okay, like he was like hooking up with a prostitute. I was like, oh, that's all detective whatever again doing doing his goofy shit. But I don't know. I would have liked somebody a
Yeah.
little bit more hard nosed. But other than that, I did like all the other characters and how they are so unique and
Mhm.
like very bleak feeling. Like and the like, I feel like the red herrings like all work very well. Like
Oh yeah.
the guy seems almost bored with it, but it almost seems like he thinks, "Oh, I'm so smart. This is easy to figure out." The psychologist guy or whatever. But he never like. But it's also like, when he does these things, it's almost like you're thinking to yourself, "Then why the fuck haven't you figured it out, dude?" Or
Hmm.
and then the thing I mentioned earlier, where they kind of give away who the killer is, which we're already in the spoiler territory, but full
Yeah.
spoiler alert going forward. 'Cause I'm about to talk about the ending a little bit, but. Uh, like when they kind of reveal, where it cuts to her dreaming in the hospital, but it shows the face of her boyfriend, who is, Peter the killer.
Mm.
We find out later on, and it kind of like tells you that he's the killer, but then shows you that it was a dream. So you have it like knowing that they wouldn't reveal something so early, you almost in
Mhm.
your mind immediately think, oh, well, that was just that was a red herring. That's like the only time that he actually feels like a red herring, and that's the killer.
Mhm.
So I feel like they do a good job with that, to where, like, I really thought it was either the psychologist or, honestly, that's just who I thought it was a psychologist.
Yeah.
I did kind of figure out that the three-fingered guy was just helping the killer and stuff like that, but,
Mhm.
uh, yeah, but they did a good job of like trick, kind of like same thing Scream does, not to bring it to
Mhm.
but just to bring it to something that, if somebody's listening that hasn't seen, that, or just something to reference that's newer. But so of course Scream would be referencing this, not vice versa. But like in Scream, the way that Skeet Ulrich's character Billy goes into prison, you almost immediately write him off when somebody gets killed that night, because you're like, okay, well, he couldn't have done that. And it's almost the
Mhm.
same thing with like this movie, when it like shows you the killer like that. You're almost like, okay, well, it can't be him now, because they've already showed us that it is him. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, when I was rewatching it this time, this is probably like the fourth or fifth time that I've seen this movie. Um, but one thing that did stand out that reminded me of Scream was like the very ending when, she puzzles it all together, Faye puzzles it all together and does the like calls the killer, and does the voice and everything. I was like, oh, this is like 100% like using the voice modifying box to call the killers in Scream. So I was like, oh, I wonder if like, that was maybe inspired from the New York Ripper. Like, did Wes Craven see this and go like, like that would be cool, But I
yeah,
don't know.
or Kevin Williamson,
Yeah, yeah. I have a funny, I was gonna say I have a funny watch with this film. Um, and this was like probably maybe like the second time that I saw the movie. A friend of mine wanted to watch it, invited me over to his house, to hang with him and his girlfriend. And he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna watch New York Ripper." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Are you sure? Your girlfriend wants to watch this? Like, this is pretty intense." And he's like, "Oh no, she'll like it. It's fine." and she had never seen it, and she likes horror movies, but like on a level that is more like, oh yeah, I'll go see like whatever's new in the theaters, kind of thing. uh and he fell asleep probably like 30 minutes into this movie, and so like it was one of those weird situations like, is he gonna ever wake up, is he just nodding off, and then he just snoring through it, and like none of us turned it off, and then it ended, and then he was like, oh, did I miss it? And I'm like, yep, me and your girlfriend watched this movie this entire time, and now I feel extremely uncomfortable. And she's like, I did not like that the slightest bit. She's like, what are you guys making me watch? I was like, I'm sorry. That was terrible, wasn't it?
I just watched somebody get a toe job in fucking in the middle of a restaurant. I don't know what the hell is. That scene is the most uncomfortable thing I've seen in a long
Dude,
time. Like,
I hate feet
yeah,
so much. And that scene is like, just
yeah,
like kills me. Um, yeah, it's so uncomfortable. All of that stuff, like I really wonder like what Fulci's like commentary is on all of the misogyny of this film. Like was he just trying to be gross as possible? Like what is the message here? Is there anything to glean from any of this? Is it like is he trying to say something about New York City or like Americans? I don't know. But it's pretty
yeah.
brutal. But
Maybe it was kind of like a counter, like, hey, you guys talk about Italians. You're like, let me show you how gross you guys are. You know what I mean? Like,
ugh.
but no,
Yeah,
I didn't like, for instance, like I didn't mind like the other sex, like the other public sex scene. Like, of course, it was like uncomfortable, but
sure.
it was like it was fitting and stuff. But the toe job thing just went on way too fucking long. Like, even if it happened, but like happened way quicker, it wouldn't have been so
Yeah.
bad. But I was just sitting here like watching it, and I was just like, don't want to just click a few 10 seconds forwards. Like,
Yeah. Well, and except for like the kills, all of that stuff was consensual, kind
yeah,
of. I think. You know what I mean? Like, I mean that lady, the character that is in the infamous toe scene,
yeah,
the toe bang scene, if you want to call it. I don't know what you want to call that. Um, yeah, she's, like doctor's wife that's like, bored, extra horny, but like he is like into it too. He like sends her off to go have these like evenings and
yeah,
has her, record it with her little tape recorder. And, so she's out seeking like depravity, and you could tell she wants to be she definitely has like some sadomasochism, she wants to be like punished and stuff like that, so I guess she's looking for it. But yeah, some of the other kills though, and probably maybe the most like giallo scene, is the scene right after the like sex club scene, and there's that one kill with the glass bottle,
yes.
and that one is also brutal. Pretty much every kill in this movie is awful.
Yeah, that's my
But
favorite one. The bottle to the vag. That's that girl's in Cannibal Ferox. I can't remember her name, but
mm,
that's one of the only other films I know that she's in. But no, that it's the girl that. Well, no, that's not the girl from. That's not after the toe job scene. Remember, that's the girl that comes down from the having sex. Remember, she walks
yeah.
down.
She was on the stage. Yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
she,
That's right. After the toe job scene is the eyeball scene, which is another good kill where he like cuts the eyeball, which that's how I knew I watched the uncut version. They say if you see the eyeball get cut and then the nipple get cut,
mm.
uh it's the uncut version, but if you just see the eyeball that it wasn't. But I one thing I
That's the
liked
only
about
version I've ever seen. I've never seen anyone that was like edited. So
yeah, I guess the like original UK version is super edited, but the
yeah.
I love how in the eyeball scene the eyes like still moving. That shit is wild. I wish I
Oh,
knew the
yeah,
makeup effects artist's name, but that shit's so
totally.
cool. But that
Well,
and
and
the
it's like,
bottle to the vag is like a cool effect. But
yeah. Well, and that was like one of the only scenes that really like went for like the deep color hues of the lighting and stuff like that. That felt like, oh yeah, here you go. Here's Giallo, you
yeah,
know. Um, and then it's like the way that he does that kill where the camera is like the point of view of the bottle of glass, like that was pretty harsh.
yeah.
Which reminds me of like Evil Dead with the tree, you know what I mean? It's kind of crazy, but yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the eyeball scene, man, like I mean, for him to uh, I don't know if it I would say it's equal to Zombie.
Yeah.
they're both insane. But yeah,
Yeah,
Dude can get rid of some eyeballs in some films.
no, I definitely see that might have been some stuff that like influenced Damien Leone and Terrifier and stuff, the
Mm,
eyeball, because he does a lot of that where like I think he's done it in 2 and 3 where the eyeball gets sliced and still is like moving around and this and that. And
mm,
he's like I've had some of his effects artists on and he's always big about like having some a little bit of movement with the kills because if even if it's the fakest looking thing, if it's sitting
mm.
still, it's gonna look even faker. You know, like for instance, at the beginning of Terrifier 3 where he chops what's her name in the head. He wanted the head to be able to like move and not just be like stuck like the axe just to actually stick in the fake head. So they had to like, rearrange the makeup
Sure.
effect a little bit, but like in the end they saw what he was saying, like, oh man, it does make it look that much more
Mm.
real and stuff. So that moving eye and then the bottle stuff, like
Oh, totally.
the way that the bottle like instantly starts filling with blood and all that stuff is just and that part that's probably one of the few like actual like scares of the film, because a lot of like giallo films and that's kind
Mm.
of what they rely on to actually scare you is like other than people that are scared of like getting murdered, like obviously like that's a bigger fear for a lot of women is going out on your own and getting murdered,
Yeah.
especially these days, in any day and time it hasn't gotten any less scary for women and stuff like that. So that's already something that's a big fear for them, but watching this from the male perspective, it's one of those things that you kind of like, they kind of rely on those jump scare moments with those, like the killer just coming out
Mm.
of nowhere, and that's really where they get you with the scares. And to me, that's like really the only effective jump scare in this film is that moment where the bottle just pops out of the fucking clothing rack and catches her. So I can just like, so she comes with a quack.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then yeah, to throw on top of all of this, it's just in like goofy
The
Donald
fact his
Duck
voice is
voice.
like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and I want to know how the girl at the very end does his exact, I mean, I can understand doing the quacking, but how does she match his exact voice
yeah.
in it too? And I'm just like, oh, okay. But
It's like,
yeah,
what
this
is
movie, like of maybe all of Giallo's, maybe Tenebrae too, but this one especially makes me never want to get stabbed. Not that I want to get stabbed by any means, but like something about like how you talked about, like you get to see them move, or there's just that extra second longer of the camera on the actual like open wound, like that it just feels like ow. Like I don't know. And again, another reason why this movie just stands out to me.
Yeah.
And you would think like rewatching this movie wouldn't be pleasant, but I always enjoy it every time I rewatch it. Like I don't go like, ah, I don't want to see this again. Like I'm like, oh yeah, like in a similar way that like watching the movie like Maniac, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that never gets old, and that movie is super harsh and brutal and ugly. I would compare this to that, like a more giallo version of Maniac.
Yeah. No, like the way Maniac is like the outlier of the slashers as far as being like the actual brutal one and a little bit more sleazy. This is the outlier for not really the outlier because there's other giallos that definitely get
Sure.
sleazy and stuff like that. And uh Argento just doesn't get as sleazy as some of the other guys. That's why it doesn't like if you just watch Argento, it doesn't feel like they get as sleazy. But when you really start to climb, like even like Torso has a lot more like stuff in
Mhm.
it than Argento stuff, at least from what I remember. It's been a while since I've seen that. That's another thing is it's hard for me to compare too much because all the ones I've seen, it's been a while since I've seen them, except for the ones I rewatch a lot, like Tenebrae, Deep Red. This one might become a little bit more of a rewatch, but it's not something I can watch with the kids around. So, you know what I
Oh
mean? But
no, no.
even on mute, you know what I mean? That's another thing. But I mean, which are all kind of gory and stuff like that. So I guess I don't need to watch that stuff on mute. But I would just edit that out. Never mind. Let me just. But no, but no, but no, I agree that like this one does feel like kind of like the outlier, as that one feels like the outlier as far as just being a little
Mhm,
more sleazy. And it's like they kind of fit together because of New York, like you mentioned, the
mhm.
grittiness of like 70. They both feel like they belong in the 70s, not the 80s, even though one was 1980 and one was
Sure.
1982. They feel like those 70s, like the Warriors, like Death Wish, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Even which I think Death Wish might have been 80s, but uh, the
Some of them. I think the first one may have been late 70s. Let's see.
yeah.
First Death Wish. 1974. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, no,
definitely
I thought,
70s.
yeah, I was thinking it was 70s, but then I was like, I'd hate to say that and be wrong, and
Hmm.
people be like, hell no, it's an 80s movie. But no, so it just feels like it belongs in the 70s, with those films,
Mm.
even Taxi Driver, stuff like that. So no, I really enjoy this film. It's one of those films, like I said, I don't know if I liked it, but I enjoyed watching it. Like, so it's like, and the only reason I say I don't like it
Mhm.
is because it's like, what's another, like saying you like it'd be like saying I like August Underground movies, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
could enjoy watching those movies, but don't necessarily like just watching people get murked up and watching weird sex toe jobs and fucking quacking and shit. Like,
Quacking.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I read something that like people say like this might be a film that you respect more than you like.
yeah, that's probably the
But I actually
definition.
really like it, which makes me feel like a horrible person, but
Which I guess, I
uh
mean, I really like Maniac. I mean, I think, like I said, I think my only difference in the two is the character that you follow in this one for me doesn't
mm,
work as well. Maniac's not really who done it, so it makes it a little bit, and like the way you follow the killer, like it makes it a
sure,
little,
sure, sure, sure.
like funner for me, but which I guess makes, what does that say about me? Following a killer is fun, but, but no,
Mhm.
I just, like I said, actually, it's hard for me to buy into this detective. I think if they really would have cast that
Sure.
role a little bit better, I might have enjoyed this movie, twice as much, but I did really
Would
enjoy everything else around. That was the only plot line I didn't care for. Like, not that I didn't care for the plot line, I just didn't care for him. But
mhm,
everything else around him, I did actually really enjoy, I would say. So I wouldn't say I didn't like this movie. It's like one
mhm,
of those things. It's hard to say you like when it's like gross and mean. You know what I mean? But I do
mhm.
like it. But
Would you recommend this movie to people?
with a caveat, like I'd have to definitely know like what they like, you know what I mean? Like if they were talking about other like Italian horror and stuff like that, I definitely would say you got to check out New
Mhm.
York Ripper, you know what I mean? Like definitely got some uncomfortable sexual stuff in it, but if you can get past that, check it out. But
Mm.
it definitely wouldn't be like a hard recommend, like something
You're not
something
going to be passing this off as like, okay, anybody at horror trivia, if you're looking for movies to
yeah.
rewatch or check out for the first time, The New York Ripper is a good one to start with.
Yeah, I don't know if I do. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't throw them at, well, and it's hard to find right now, but
Sure.
which is annoying. It's like I feel like this film and opera were everywhere until we tried to cover them, and then
Oh
they're
yeah.
fucking nowhere. I'm like, God damn it! But no, New York Ripper, I definitely wouldn't throw out a recommend on that one.
Mm-mm.
Like I said, I have to know, like if somebody was wearing a shirt, honestly, if somebody like Terrifier, or well, not even that doesn't really even go as like sexual, though, you know what I mean? But
Mm.
I would that somebody like Terrifier, I would probably recommend Fulci in general. Um,
Mm.
but that's the thing is like New York Ripper would never be my first recommendation when it comes to Fulci because I like his like supernatural stuff more. Even though Don't Torture a Duckling is my favorite, that wouldn't even be my first recommendation. It would probably be like one of the Gates to Hell
Sure.
movies or
Yeah.
probably the Beyond, honestly, would be the first.
Sure. Yeah. I think I would say I would be very torn between either The Beyond or Zombie.
True
I think it
zombie.
just really would. I'd be like, are you into zombie movies? If you're into zombie movies, watch this. If you're into more like supernatural movies that also have zombies, watch The Beyond. The Beyond is definitely my favorite Fulci film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's something about this one though. This one, uh, I mean, it's definitely up there in my favorites in a weird way. Maybe it's like just honorable mention. If I had a top three, it's probably The Beyond, uh, probably Zombie, City of the Living Dead, and then New York Ripper, probably.
Yeah. Now I probably Don't Torture would probably be number one for me. Number two would be The Beyond, and then number three would probably be City of the Living Dead, just because uh
Mm,
yeah, I like that one as well. I like a lot of the aspects of uh like a lot of loved ones turning on loved ones because of
mm,
the like curse and stuff. And I love how it just starts with a
sure.
priest hanging himself. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, this movie
Oh yeah,
metal as fuck.
throwing up intestines just right away. Just
Yeah.
like wow. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that is the best thing about Fulci is you are always in for a treat. If you like seeing practical gore effects, then, his movies definitely don't disappoint. I mean, even the way that the character at the end of New York Ripper is killed by the cops, which is so funny. That whole end sequence, can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
The way it just happens kind of cracks me up because it's like she's figuring out all this. Like, and let's talk about his whole motive. He has this daughter who has, I've already forgotten what her condition is.
She has
And
like
I
one
almost want,
arm.
one arm, one leg. She's in a bubble, like a bag. She's
Yeah.
under like a tent, Uh, and I forget what the nurse says something like she suffers from leukotomia or whatever. And I really hope it's a real condition and not just something medical sounding that they just made up and threw in there. Um, but yeah, so his daughter is suffering from this condition, and his whole motive is he's mad that she won't ever get to live like a full life that a normal woman would have. So his whole thing is like, I'm gonna go attack women that live freely. I don't know.
No,
It's just intense.
and I love how in the process he's like, I'm gonna use the voice that I like baby talk her with
Oh,
while I
yeah.
kill the people. Like instead of doing anything else, like a darker, scarier voice, he's like, I'm just gonna quack and fucking talk to them
Uh-huh.
like my child.
But
But
yeah, so then, the girlfriend figures it out, and she's the only real badass one in this, because she's like doing all the hard work, having to deal with getting chased and almost killed by him, and then is chased by the freaky three finger guy that, you find out isn't the killer, but just the, helper. And then like as she stabs him, and then she gets, the jump scare at the end where he comes back and is like about to like get her potentially, and he gets shot across the cheek. That whole shot scene. But it's like the cops, they just show up out of nowhere, and they're just like, "Yep, we did our job.
yeah,
Our job's done here." And the of course the professor's just there hanging out, and he's like, "Yep, you got him." Like, and then they're riding in like the taxi cab going to the hospital or whatever in the police cruiser. And, Homegirl is, you know, traumatized, like sobbing. And the professor's still like, "Ah, yes. So you see the killer." He's like, still monologuing about why, having his lecture, his TED talk about what's all happening, talking about how, like if only the killer would have just, you know, instead of attacking women, just, the one thing that his one daughter needed was just his own love and attention, and he couldn't even give her that. And the poor
yeah.
daughter is like trying to call him in the last scene, and she's just like, "Papa, please answer, please answer. I just want to talk to you, Papa." It's so sad,
I know. I was like, why the
but so
fuck did he
funny too.
need to do that? Like, why'd you have to try to break my heart after this wildly fucking sleazy, like weird? It almost like got me. I was like,
It's so
it,
mean.
it hit my heartstring for like a second, and I was like, no, fuck you, Fulci. I was like, you weird ass. This is fucking like this is weird.
It is such a bummer. It is the meanest ending ever.
Yeah, I was like, god
Because you
damn.
don't even need that. I mean, I guess you need it for the catalyst of his motive, but like you didn't need to do that. I don't know. It's funny to me. Maybe that's why I like it, because it's just the movie is just that out there that I'm just like, I don't know. When are you gonna get a movie like that today? Nobody's ever gonna make that movie. Like that can never happen today. I
Yeah,
don't know. It's probably the closest thing to like an X-rated movie that isn't an X-rated movie. I don't know.
yeah. Now we're getting closer to that now than ever with, unrated stuff, like I've
It's
mentioned
true.
Terrifier already, but we got Terrifier, Toxic Avenger, we got that movie Fuck My Son coming out. That's all over the place. So,
I
uh
have not heard of that one.
check it out. Check out the trailer for Fuck
Oh
My Son.
no.
It's about a woman that kidnaps people and tries to make them like have sex with her grotesque son, but and it's
Oh,
X-rated but it's coming to like independent film cinemas like Alamo Drafthouse is doing a tour of it and stuff like that. So,
so it's like a reverse. What was that movie? Prom Queen, or what was the not Prom Queen? What was
oh
Prom Date or
no, it's the loved ones.
The Loved Ones? Yeah, but it's about a prom date, right? Yeah,
Yeah, he's well.
yeah,
It's like just they just trying to. I think trying to get a grandson is the point of this one.
yeah.
Uh, but no, so I kind of want to see that. But it definitely, we're getting closer to that now than ever. But definitely
Eee.
for a while, even with like Alpha, the new one from Julia Decour. Now I hope to see that in theaters.
Mm.
The one that the girl that did Titan and Raw.
Oh
So
yeah,
definitely excited
that's
to
true.
see.
Yeah, I take that back. There are movies that are pushing the boundaries. I'm just desensitized.
But
So
I mean, it's been years since we're finally getting that stuff.
it's
Like
true.
it's definitely it didn't happen before even the 2020s, like post pandemic, it really wasn't happening and stuff, except
Oh
for,
yeah.
except for like midnight movies, and even that's just showing old stuff. But no,
Yep.
no, no, I really, I agree. This is, uh, it's fun to watch these old movies and just think about like the way that they've been treated for so many years, and now it's so easy for us to
Mm,
find and watch them. You know what I mean? So, I'm
sure.
glad we live in the time where we can watch these films and not the video nasties times where we probably would have never seen the shit. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would be curious to know what the theater release for a able like this was. Like,
yeah, probably
but
drive-ins, like late night
yeah, oh
drive-ins
yeah,
type shit.
totally. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's a great one. I love it. It's not your typical giallo, but it stands out there. It definitely sticks out compared to others, in my opinion. So,
Oh yeah. No, that's one thing is even though I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, it's definitely very memorable and like definitely one that like as soon as you think of
mhm,
Giallo, it's one of the first ones that pop in my head. You know what I mean? Especially when I'm trying to think of ones outside of Argento, because like I said, I'm still kind of an amateur to the genre, so Argento is definitely still my like
mhm.
first thought and the one I've seen the most of. But no, hell yeah. But do you want to go ahead and wrap this up by rating it and final
Sure.
thoughts or
Let's see. I give this one what are we rating it? What's our number scale? I'm trying to remember. Do we have
the 10?
a out of 10? I give this 7 quacks out of 10.
Hell yeah. No, I give this 7 as well. I think the only reason I dock it the 3 points is literally like kind of the main character and just some of the inconsistencies in tone throughout. But like even for instance, like some of the just very stupid decisions. Like there's one of the things that happened early on with the detective. He's talking to that lady who's telling him about the quack voice. He's like, which of course everybody says he talks like a duck, and I'm like, what fucking duck is talking? Do you mean he
Uh,
quacks? Like nobody says he quacks. They says he talks like a duck. Like that's they never say he quacks, and I'm like. Why wouldn't you just say he's quacking? Like
I wonder if that's like an English translation, like weird thing, you know?
yeah, it kept driving me crazy. I was like, ducks don't talk. What do you mean he talks like a duck? Like, if anything, you say Donald Duck, or maybe they were trying to say he talks like Donald Duck and they got in
Hmm.
trouble or something. But maybe that's the translation. But is that it said Donald Duck and they switched to saying like a duck or whatever. But I
Hmm.
don't know. It just drove me crazy. But she talks to him, then he walks away, and you have the whole like Fulci cameo where he
Hmm.
walks up and talks to him. But then
Classic Fulci cameo. Yep.
right. But then somebody calls and is like, yeah, he's like the cop at the phones is talking to him. He's like, yeah, somebody called and said that they were talking like a duck. And like he's like, where have I heard that before? It's like, you just fucking were talking to the lady like 2 seconds ago. What do
Dude,
you
that cop sucks. That
mean?
cop sucks so bad.
But that was
But then
like,
then at the very end though, he's like, you would think that I'm not a very good cop, but I'm already got the house being cased right now. You know what I mean? He starts like saying, like, I'm already 2 steps ahead of you, professor. You ain't smarter than me with your college education.
yet you left her, so you knew who it was, and yet you left him alone with the girl that, God damn, like, and I also like how she figured it out like 2 weeks ahead of them. So it's just no, it was I feel like
Mm,
if would have been more humor throughout this, it might have like that like silliness in those moments would have worked. But because everything else
mm,
is so sleazy and mean, those moments like do not work at all. It feels like unintentionally stupid. You know what I mean?
yeah,
At times. So, but no, I really, that's the only reason I dock at the 3 points. Other than that,
sure.
like the kills are like some of my favorites. Not my, I
Mm,
wouldn't say favorites because I mean, I definitely love his like crazy stuff that he does in the supernatural movies more. But they're definitely like in the Giallo realm, they stick out. A lot of Giallo films are just a lot of like, very brutal stabbing. Sometimes, a little
mm.
bit of throat cutting and stuff, but he goes through the joy trail in this film. So, definitely unique, but
Yep. Hell yeah. Yeah, I say check it out if you got a strong stomach and you can handle some sleaziness and not take it too yeah, check it out. Why not?
yeah, and do a double feature and travel back to 80s New York with Maniac, and this one would be a good one.
You know what? I thought about watching this movie for the first time, and maybe because this last year I went through a big De Palma kick. I want to know how much Fulci was inspired by Dress to Kill. Because
Yeah,
I think that came out before this. Um,
I don't think so. When did the movie Dress to Kill release?
The film Dressed to Kill was released on July 25th, 1980.
Oh yeah, it
yes,
was. So
two
yeah,
years before. So this movie feels like kind of De Palma-esque. You know what I mean? You have, I guess maybe I'm comparing like the wife that's like bored and seeking companionship, if you want to call it that, to the wife in this movie. So I don't know. I just feel like maybe there's a little bit of that in there, which I think is cool. You know, Fulci
Good.
seems like the type of guy that would be heavily inspired by all types of directors and creatives, and how does he like do his own take on that?
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah.
I could definitely see where he would have dove into some De Palma, to kind of get the like feeling of like New York and stuff in that time period and
Mhm.
just the city in general. So no, I could definitely see that for sure. And De Palma's returning to direct in the summer. He's supposed to shoot a new film, so a new
Oh
thriller.
yeah.
So I'm stoked on that. But hell yeah, man! It's fun to wrap up Giallo January with you. We're not gonna really get to cover Blood and Black Lace because I moved that
It's okay.
the interview episode, but we'll probably just get to it some random week
Sure.
down the line. But I'm not sure what we're covering next exactly. I know I originally said Hard Eyes, but honestly, I'm kind of
Mhm.
feeling doing like more of like a topic. I kind of want to go back to doing like a top five or something. So
Sure.
I'll
Yeah.
get back to you on that. We might still, depending on how the guest episodes go and line up, we might still try to fit in a Hard Eyes episode in February, but uh, just depends on what's going on. But no, hell yeah, I appreciate you, man. And for anybody listening, just make sure
Sure.
that you like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think of New York Ripper and where it lines up against other Giallos for you, and just Fulci films in general. And hey man, it's been a blast chatting with you. I'll see you in a few weeks.
Always, always. Yeah. Talk to you soon, buddy.